Hi, my name's Dónal McAnallen and my background is in history, and a lot of my research has been on the history of sport in Ireland, particularly that relating to Gaelic games and nationalist sporting identity. And that was essentially the subject of my doctoral thesis, the GAA in the Northern Irish State in 1921 to 68, and that overlapped to a large extent with the subject of my talk today, the Northern Nationalist Party and political opposition through sport from the 1920s right through to 1972. The basis for this talk today was that in the new landscape after the partition of Ireland in the 1920s, Northern nationalists found themselves isolated and disenfranchised, both in the political sense and to an extent on the sporting in the sporting spectrum, because not only were they in a permanent minority, but also there were very deliberate attempts by the unionist government or politicians within it to replicate partition in other sporting organisations. So what I have shown is that Northern Nationalist MPs, they did not really form truly a party. They were a small collection of individual MPs who very much from the mid-1920s nurtured a close identification and association with the GAA in their respective constituencies, and they used sporting platforms as one of the main platforms to articulate their opposition to government. In fact, at various stages during this period, they abstained from Parliament, and all the more need they had therefore to speak on political platforms, and particularly those of the GAA. But it wasn't just exclusively the GAA. For example, the National Athletic and Cycling Association, which was broadly nationalist in outlook, it was certainly all Ireland. The nationalist MPs took a strong stance in defence of all Ireland participation in athletics, and what's more, they also on occasion took a sort of a class-based defence or opposition to government policy, for example in legislation on hunting and the promotion of motor racing and other things which nationalists tended to see maybe as being sort of representatives of actions or interests of the elite unionist hierarchy. So towards the end of this period, I find that maybe the identification wanes somewhat, and from the late 1960s you find a dramatic realignment within the political apparatus and parties in Northern Ireland, and within that identification with the GAA and the use of and particularly the use of a sporting platform does not become quite as important for politicians, because there are new party structures at last being formed, and there are new media platforms on which to articulate their message. But I suppose the main finding would be that that sporting, in the political vacuum of a proper party, sport was the main vehicle for articulation of political opposition.